Tonight, the global crisis that hit the nation. We take a look back at 2020 and a woman extradited back to New South Wales to face significant charges.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamane begins now.
Good evening. We begin our final bulletin of 2020 by looking back at the year that was. A turbulent and extraordinary 12 months for the country and the entire world. Here in the Spencer Gulf, communities were put to the test, a pandemic grew, wild weather hit and scandals erupted in South Australia's Parliament, shaping a year we will never forget.
It was an unprecedented year that was like nothing we'd ever seen before.
So as of today, 12 o'clock, we've had to close the premises.
It's really quite frightening for the future and what's going to happen.
What seemed like a problem half a world away quickly hit close to home as COVID-19 landed in Australia and before long crossed into our state.
The fear factor, the unknown, we don't know what to expect.
As we went into lockdown, hundreds of thousands lost their jobs overnight. Towns transformed into ghost towns. States and territories began closing their borders to try and stay ahead of the rapidly spreading COVID menace.
It is a tough decision, but it was a necessary decision. Non-essential travel as of midnight tonight from Victoria is just completely prohibited.
Fights were brewing in Broken Hill as the Silver City tried to land an exemption from South Australia's hard border closure.
So that our community can still access healthcare, that family can still have access, and that for education, that while universities or TAFE are open, there is an opportunity.
Masks, temperature checks and COVID tracing quickly became our new norm. Festivals and events across the region were scrapped as new restrictions came into force.
Economically, this is not good for the city of Port Lincoln.
Lincoln's cruise ship season was cut short as outbreaks began to soar.
It will have a devastating impact.
While the lockdown saw the final nail in the coffin for several country papers.
Regional newspapers are a backbone of our community.
You know, the industry has been rife with these sorts of changes over a number of years, and so, yeah, it seems to be blow after blow that we're all sort of feeling for each other.
No industry was immune from the pandemic. Sport across the country ground to a halt.
I take my hat off to the leagues that are running their competitions, but in Broken Hill in 2020, it's not going to happen.
A COVID scare in Adelaide threw the state back into lockdown last month. Shoppers sent into a frenzy, once again stocking up on the essentials, raiding bottle shops and supermarkets.
I've got to get some drinks, mate, because it doesn't look too good. It looks like it might be dry for a while.
Can't hurt to be cautious, I don't think. So, yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Not at all. That's not fair. Not fair at all.
But it went as quickly as it came, lifted after just 3 days.
We just shut down all the bars and the restaurants as well, emptied the kitchen and rearranged all the shifts. I need to have that all reshuffled again on Saturday.
The government was sidetracked from dealing with a COVID pandemic to dealing with its own internal drama. A number of MPs thrown into the spotlight over accommodation claims. 3 ministers sent packing as a response from the Polly Perks scandal. The weather also didn't play by the rules. In Port Lincoln, an unstoppable storm caused chaos across the city. Roads became raging rapids, cars were left submerged as floodwaters rose.
Shocking. Over a metre deep.
Residents forced to run for cover after bolts of lightning caused carports to come crashing down.
Because I was out here to start with, so I ran around back inside. So I was glad it didn't hit me.
Whyala's historic port restoring its slipway to scrap vessels.
It's another example of CIMEC Mining, or GFG, who owns our company, commercialising the port.
A $90 million desalination plant given the green light on the EP, expected to provide water security for the region.
This desalination plant will be the biggest economic activity undertaken on the Eyre Peninsula by the government for many generations.
While Mount Remarkable's National Park scored $10 million.
It's going to provide a real lift to a region that's already renowned for its beauty.
In September, the eyes of the nation turned to Eyre Peninsula as we reached for the stars, launching the first commercial rocket. Back on the ground, Whyalla opened its $7 million circular jetty.
I'm quite sure that this jetty will become a national icon.
Tensions with China escalated this year with tariffs being placed on Australian produce a devastating blow for our region's wine and lobster industries.
This is highly dangerous intervention.
2 missing sailors sparked South Australia's largest marine search in September.
We have serious concerns for their welfare given this boat has not been seen for some time.
Across the border and in Broken Hill, one of the country's biggest stars dropped by to promote regional tourism. And in Silverton, locals welcomed 2 new residents straight from the North Pole.
I think a lot of the local children are quite keen to get out and visit.
A challenging year that rocked our country and the world to its core. But while we were so often forced apart, we were somehow closer than ever.
A woman has been extradited from Victoria, now facing a raft of charges in New South Wales. Police allege the 33-year-old obtained roughly $250,000 through illegal transactions while working at a bank in Broken Hill 2 years ago. She was granted bail in Wentworth yesterday to appear in Broken Hill local court in February. A 25-year-old Clare woman has been reported for drink driving after allegedly blowing more than double the legal alcohol limit. Patrol stopped a vehicle on Main North Road at Clare Valley for a random breath test just after 10 on Wednesday night. The driver allegedly recorded a reading of 0.116 and will appear in court at a later date. Still to come tonight, a Broken Hill police officer retires after nearly 4 decades on the job. And a Port Augusta local receives a life membership to the racing club. Welcome back. Police in Broken Hill have come to a standstill to acknowledge one of their colleagues who's retiring after 37 years in the force. Officers farewelling Inspector Malcolm Andrews as he left the station for the last time.
A guard of honour, the greatest show of respect. Inspector Malcolm Andrews hanging up his hat after almost 4 decades with New South Wales Police.
It's been a journey. Long winding road with some challenges, and some of those bends were like hitting the bottom of a roller coaster, I can assure you.
Inspector Andrews moved to Broken Hill as officer in charge and has since spent 5 of his 37 years working here, this town leaving its mark on the seasoned officer.
It's been enjoyable, and everyone, regardless of who they are, they're generally pretty respectful and nice people.
The average length of service for police officers is around a decade, less in some jurisdictions, making Inspector Andrews' achievements even more significant. After a year where police have taken on extra responsibilities on the front line against COVID-19, the now former inspector has a much simpler plan for retirement.
A lot of catching up. COVID mixed our travel arrangements up with my wife, but we'll start to move forward now.
And 2020 has shown just how important that family time is. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
In the spirit of Christmas giving, Whyalla Centrecare has made a special donation to the local men's shed. The money going towards new safety equipment in an effort to continue supporting its members and encourage good mental health.
A Christmas gift handing over a cheque of $500.
Well, I was just informed that we were going to receive a donation. Thought it was great, for the shed. It'll be put to good use.
Whyalla's Centrecare sending Christmas cards electronically this year, using the additional money to give back to the community.
I thought it'd be a good idea. They could probably use all the money they can get, and it's great, facility.
Also saying Whyalla's Centrecare chose the local men's shed as it also supports some of its clients.
Well, I have a lot of clients, men that are on their own and stuff, and I sort of send them down here.
The Men's Shed president says the group encourages positive mental health and continues supporting members to feel part of a family. This donation going a long way, set aside for new equipment for the group.
We were always looking for gear anyway, different bits and pieces.
And it's not the only donation Centrecare will be giving this month, with staff also handing out Christmas hampers to those in need. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A Port Augusta resident has become the first woman to receive a life membership at the local racing club. She says she's proud to be recognised for her contributions over the past 5 decades.
Recognising 50 years of dedication. Port Augusta's Vicky Fullerton receiving a life membership to the Port Augusta Racing Club.
I was absolutely blown away and yeah, it's just a real honour to receive this life membership, just unbelievable.
First getting involved in the racing club through her family, Vicky's love for the sport grew when she met her late husband Daryl.
Just coming to the races and catching up with your mates and meeting new people and hopefully backing a winner.
Vicky has been instrumental in establishing the club's ladies fundraising committee, helping to raise more than $14,000 for renovations.
And if anyone deserved to be the first woman to be made a life member of the Port Augusta Racing Club, it was Vicky Fullerton.
Next year, the club will celebrate its 140th birthday, giving Vicky a special acknowledgement for her contribution.
All those life members we've had in the past, and it used to be the criteria of 20 years on the committee to get life membership. To have the first woman, I think Vicky represents everything about women in racing.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. A Port Augusta TV series helping young people wraps up, and council calls for public input into Whyala's foreshore. Hello again. Port Augusta broadcaster Amiwara Media is preparing to wrap up its 6-part TV series. The initiative was rolled out earlier this year, giving youth an opportunity to learn new skills.
A 6-part TV series, all shot and wrapping up.
It discusses a lot of the youth issues, such as, mental health in some of the episodes, as well as the big one, like COVID-19 as well was in there.
The UMI TV initiative rolled out earlier this year thanks to funding from CarClue, aiming at getting more youth involved in the media scene.
It gives another focus for youth and gives them a voice.
To bring others a voice as well, and more opportunities for younger people as well.
Also saying they've seen an improvement in their skills and confidence throughout the series.
Coming up with questions to ask the community and really speaking in front of a camera as well and just being confident.
They're encouraging more young locals to get on board with the initiative set to return next year.
Bigger and brighter things next year. I think, there's a lot of topics that might come up next year as well, and we are still looking forward to a lot more other people joining in as well.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Pirie Regional Gallery has today opened its doors to showcase a highly anticipated exhibition. Named Use, the display includes handcrafted jewellery and residents are being urged to check out the installation.
A new exhibition taking centre stage with eye-catching pieces from 17 Queensland artists.
Responded to different themes in their artwork. So for instance, the artwork here beside me, she's responded to the degradation of the coral reef.
Showcasing quirky jewellery, both big and small, Helen Burt, Jack Dyson and Alicia Lane are among the artists featured.
Alicia Lane's made some seed pods. Their names are a fusion of British explorers and terms that reflect the interconnectedness threads of colonisation.
Visitors are set to travel from far and wide, with the exhibition an exclusive to the region.
A lot of people coming up from Adelaide for it as well. It's the only place in South Australia that this exhibition is showing, so yeah, it'll be great.
It comes as school holidays have kicked off today, with workshops available for kids with an artistic flair planned for January.
Kids' activities around those 2 workshops with some local artists as well, so keep an eye out in January for all of those activities.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Whyalla City Council is seeking the community's input to boost the foreshore area over the summer period. It comes after the announcement of the Beach Cafe closing its doors in January. Council is looking to trial a series of pop-up activities and food vans over the school holidays and festive season, aiming to encourage more residents to engage with the area. Stay with us after the break. We'll hear all the top tips for weekend cricket. And Alex will join us for the final weather forecast for the year. Welcome back. It's that time of the week again. Here's our cricket experts with their tips for the weekend.
Yeah, g'day and welcome to this week's round of Port Augusta cricket. This week we see South Augusta take on Quorn at Edsa. This should be a very good match. Both sides still chasing Central Stirling. The other match sees the winless West Augusta take on Central Stirling. Central are top, Westies are bottom. I cannot see Westies beating Central Stirling. So there are my two winners, South Augusta and Central Stirling.
Welcome to this week's Port Lincoln Cricket Tips. A break from club cricket this week and we're into association cricket. On Saturday, Port Lincoln, first 11, second 11 and Horgan Shield travel up to Woodner to take on La Hunt Association. Can't go past the Port Lincoln guys to win here. Sunday we also have association cricket against Eastern Air here in Port Lincoln. This will be a really strong match. Eastern Air joined forces with Kimber Association in the off-season. Some very strong players there throughout both their sides. Wouldn't be surprised if Eastern Air get up in this one, but got to pick our boys again, Port Lincoln. Thanks for listening to Port Lincoln Cricket Tips.
Hello and welcome to round 9 of Port Pirie Cricket. This round starts with Wandera taking on Southport here at Memorial Oval from 10:30. Wandera are still at the top of the ladder and looking pretty strong. I'm back on Wandera here. Over at Port Oval, we've got Port Germain taking on Props at 12:30. Both teams have had a bit of a hot and cold season, but I'm expecting Port Germain to get the win in this one.
Hello and welcome back to Whyalla Cricket. The first match of the round sees North Whyalla take on West Whyalla. I've heard rumours that the big signing of Sam Frick is going to play this week, so in that regard I'm going to take West Whyalla. In Sunday's game sees Rupina play Central Whyalla. I'm going to pick Rupina in this one. I think Chewy's in for a big one.
Second last round of Broken Hill cricket before the Christmas break this weekend, and for a change the weather's looking okay. At the Jubilee Oval, North take on Central. Central haven't made over 100 yet this season, so they'll be looking for their batsmen to find some form, but I think the North side should be a little bit too good for Central in that game. In the other game at the Alma Oval, South take on West. I think this will be a reasonably competitive game, but based on form so far this season, West should emerge victors.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex.
Thanks, Ruby. Mostly sunny across most of our region today. From 3 p.m, Broken Hill sunny and 30. Similar conditions in Cleve 25, Coffin Bay 26. Port Augusta and Cooper Pedy 31, Whyalla 27, Port Lincoln mostly sunny 22, Port Pirie 32, Woodner 30, Clare 25 and sunny in Adelaide 29 degrees. To the satellite image now, extensive clouds streaming across northern and western SA as tropical moisture feeds a trough is bringing rain. Cloud is thickening in the northwest as the trough deepens and gains moisture, causing the rain to become heavier. Skies are mostly clear in the southeast. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Easterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas around 1 and 1.5 metres, south to southwesterly swell below 1 metre. Mainly fine across the region tomorrow. Port Lincoln 29, Cleve 35, Woodner 37, Whyalla 35, wind easing and partly cloudy in Port Augusta 37 degrees, Kadina a max of 36. Port Pirie wind easing and partly cloudy 37 degrees, Clare and Broken Hill both 33 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, rain in some parts on Sunday, windy and cloudy in Port Pirie 35, cloudy in Port Augusta 35, same in Port Lincoln a top of 29. Heating up on Monday, Port Augusta 38, Whyalla 36, 37 in Kadina and Adelaide, and partly cloudy across most of the region on Tuesday, set to top 36 in Cooper Pedy and Broken Hill, 33 in Port Augusta and Port Pirie, 30 in Whyalla and Adelaide. And that's all the weather from me tonight and for the year. It has been an absolute pleasure bringing you your weather each night. Back to you, Ruby.
Lovely, thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Friday evening and for the rest of the year. On behalf of the whole Spencer Golf News team, we wish you all a safe and Merry Christmas. Thanks for joining us after what's certainly been a different year for everyone, and we'll return with all your local news in the new year. I will be back a bit later with some updates, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.